Got it. Zoom to YouTube. All right. We are zooming. Okay. So what we want to do now is make sure where I need to be here. All right. So what we want to do now is understand and welcome, get everybody on here. And today we are going to go over the children, being like the children, right? So many times what we don't understand is being the children of Yahweh. Everything is really upon being the children of Yahweh. He says, I will be your Elohim, but we have to be his people, right? So we have to do what he says for all these things to work out. We can say, well, I want this to happen, I want that to happen, all the things that we want to go on, but if we're not doing what he says to do, then how can we be his children? Make sense? So we have to be very careful, and when we're looking into things and doing things and not being his set apart, his children. Matthew 18:10, see that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven. We know Proverbs 22:6, Deuteronomy 6:4, all these come together to show us what? Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it. So if we do what we're supposed to do, if we teach them to do what they're supposed to do, then what's going to happen? They're going to learn the ways they are supposed to be. Make sense? The thing is, when we learn what we're supposed to do, then we do what we're supposed to do. The problem I would set before you is the world has said, do December 25th. The world has said, let's do these days. Let's do this day. Let's do this and that and the other. So what happens? We say, well, if we do what they do, then we're like them. It feels better. It's do December 25th, do Thanksgiving. Why can't you do Halloween? Why can't we do these days? Because the scriptures, because Yahweh tells us not to do these days. Rejoice in Yahweh always. I will say it again, rejoice. Philippians 4:4. How can we be rejoicing when we're doing things that he told us not to do? How can we possibly be rejoicing when he says, don't do this, and we do it anyway? Don't have other idols, don't have other gods, don't have this, don't have that. And we go and say, yeah, but they're doing it down the road. Yeah, but what I really think we can do is what everybody else does, right? Well, if we can do what everybody else does, then how are we set apart? How can we possibly be set apart? We can't, and we know it. We know we cannot sit around and say, I'm peculiar, I'm set apart, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other, when we can clearly see that we're not that way, right? I mean, I know everybody does, or I shouldn't say everybody. I know there's a lot of people who do the December 25th. I know there's a lot of people that do all kinds of things. But if we're not careful, what happens is we come into this and we just don't do what we're supposed to do, right? We just don't understand. So what I would submit is the enemy is using this. You hear people all over that they think they're testifying of the Most High. I moved to this place because I felt led to this place. I moved to this assembly. I moved to this community. I moved, and they're having a fight from day one. They lose their car, they lose their this, they lose their that, and they think that battle is because they're children, they don't stop and comprehend. Maybe it's the Most High telling you not to do it. Maybe he's put his hand down and said, listen and obey and hear my instructions. But so many people don't. That's why we have the Sunday church. That's why we have so much of the goings on, because they're doing what they want. They're doing what they seem right in their own eyes, right? It's no different than it's ever been. They're doing what they see in their own eyes. And if they want to celebrate this day, if they want to celebrate that day, if they want to eat what they want to eat, they want to do what they do, that's all but what it says to do, right? So to be the true children of Yahweh, it means we keep the fourth commandment. We come to him on his day and we do what he says. He took a little child whom he placed among them. Taking the child in his arms, he said to them, whoever welcomes one of these little children in my name welcomes me. And whoever welcomes me does not welcome me, but the one who sent me. The way this works perfectly is no one, nothing can separate you from Yahweh. You are the only one who can eat, drink, and do what you do, right? You're the only one that can separate you. Now, with that being said, if you listen to Mom, Pop, and Fred, and Henry, and kids, and relation, then of course, but it's not particularly them, it's you. It's your decision. He takes us as children, and he says he wants to be our Elohim. But we have to accept him as Elohim. What I would propose to many people is they're too stuck on what they're doing and their life and their this and their that, as to opposed to what he says to do. So if someone wants to adopt you and you're 7 years old, they come and they meet with you and they talk with you and they share things with you and they take you to eat, take you home to eat, take you to the park, all these things. Now, their prerequisite of being in their home is probably not going to the bathroom wherever you want to, not eating anything you want to, not gnawing on their walls, not breaking their things, right? Even as a child, if you go into somebody's house and start just ransacking it and tearing things up, they're probably not going to want you back. They're probably going to say this ain't a good fit, so to speak, right? So if we know this and we can see it, and even as a child, then how are we to come to the Most High? And this should be everywhere. I don't know why people, well, I do know, because again, they act as children and they get treated as children. But over and over and over, we hear the same thing. My pastor said, this one said, this one told me. But you open the scripture and it says something totally different. So how can you be a child of Yahweh celebrating every other day? Maybe this would help. If you come into the Father's house and he says, I've invited you tomorrow at 12 o'clock to be here. I would like you to sit and eat with me. We got something very important to talk about. Could you please just come and dine? Come and eat with me. Come and we'll talk about it. We'll break bread together. And then you never show up. You go down to the friend's house and play PlayStation all morning long. Oh, you thought about it at 10. You thought about it at 11. 12:15, it came, oh my gosh, I'm late. Maybe I should go. Well, I'm too late. Forget it. Now I'm too late. Just forget it. Is that our life story? Would that be someone's life story? Is that what's going on in churches and buildings and places, in homeless places? Yahweh's bidding you to come on his day and over again, rebellious children say, I'm going to meet you on Sunday. It don't matter. Who are we to tell the Creator on what day we'll meet him? Because again, if you had any kind of upraising, if any kind of restrictions in your house, truly your daddy would not have said, it's okay. It was just talking about your mother and death. Don't worry about it. We were just going to go over your inheritance, but now by all means, forget about it. I'm going to give it to your brother. He was there. Right? When we come to the Creator, we must humble ourselves and realize he's the Creator. This is not the Pastor Joe. This ain't Uncle Bobby. This is the Creator. And the Creator says, come to me on my days. I don't know why people think that they can come on whatever day they want. We ain't got to celebrate those days. We'll celebrate the 4th. We'll celebrate the 5th. We'll celebrate whatever. We'll do any way we want to. He just has to. So you're just going to tell him he has to accept you on your terms. Right? He's just going to accept you on your terms, but yet somehow he's going to be your Creator. Does that make any sense whatsoever? Any sense whatsoever? Well, you know, I'm going to go and meet him when I want to. And I know this is the world's way. I know this is what the world thinks. I know that's what they want to believe. But can we do that? Can we come to the Creator and say, well, you know what? I know I got things to do, and I know there's things you want me to do, and I know all these things, but you know what? I'm going to do it my way. So let's talk about, are we the children of the Most High or not? Are we created in his image? See, this is the beginning of a lot of this. Are we created in the image of the Most High? Yes, right? We believe that. So if we believe that we are created in the image of the Most High, then we believe we are his children. Notice, I don't think there's one verse that says we are the adults. It says, you will be my children, I will be your Elohim. So what we have to understand again is what he wants from us is what he's asking. And he says it's not too hard. It's not too much of a burden. It's not more than what the world asks of you. The world asks you to paint your face and be a completely clown person, to be a total fake person, to go to work and be something that you're never, ever going to be. Hollyweird. Never, ever who they are. No wonder they go crazy and lose their mind. One day they're their call girl, and the next day they're some beauty thing. And they know in their heart they're missing something. They're getting paid to be fake. Getting paid to be somebody they're not. Getting paid to be somebody's name that don't even exist. There's not that person in most cases, right? Well, wait a minute, I played Richard Nixon. Well, that's good, but you're not Richard Nixon. You see what I'm saying? That a lot of that brain's demonic, I believe. But if we're not careful, a lot of that we're shoving on our kids. Teach them diligently, and they won't go from it. For a lot of us, we never knew what that verse meant. That we never read that verse. We didn't get taught that verse. We got taught, raise your hand and repeat after me. I am saved. Well, I am saved. Well, say this and do this and you're okay. And if you have any problems, you just say you're sorry. And if all that doesn't work out, then please send a bucket of money and we'll take care of it. Right? Oh, wow. So we turn it into what we see today, a bunch of horrible, horrible, horrible things. And it spills over into Messianic, into Hebrew roots, into people that are trying to do the right thing. They're so used to going and talking about me. Stand up and testify. Well, you know, my job, my money, my mom, what does that got to do with religion? What does that got to do with the scripture? What does that got to do with what he's done for you? Half of these people, I would submit, that are proclaiming their God gave them something is not. Think about this now. People get upset and everything, and we might have to put this out on the first day so we can talk more about the money issue, but they go and talk about their job. They go and talk about things that don't pertain to the kingdom. When does he ever say, worry about this and worry about that and worry about your car and worry about your cat, worry about your dog? Worry about salvation. Worry about eternal things. Worry about, is your child saved? Are you saved? Are you ready? I know everybody thinks they're saved, but if you're really saved, was Judas saved? Did he make it? I'm just asking you, do you think Judas was saved? Do you think that he made it? Because a lot of this once saved, always saved, don't cut out the Hasatan. Does it? If Hasatan was always saved and always what he was made, then why is he fallen? Why is Beliar in charge of hell? Why are these fallen ones in such terrible places? Because of disobedience, because they didn't listen to the Creator, because they wanted to do their own thing. For some reason, we believe that Hasatan deserves hell. Most people have no problem with that. Well, of course, he's no good, lying, cheating, no good. He deserves it. Should be pitched in the sulfur lake as of now, right? But yet the same thing that he whispered in your ear and you did, then that's different, right? So when we really figure a lot of this out, we realize that we're thankful to the Creator that he has even let us be a part of this program. Make sense? When the chief priest and the teachers of the law saw the wonderful things he did, and the children shouting in the temple courts, Hosanna, Son of David, they were indulgent. Do you hear what these children are saying? They asked him. Yes, replied Yeshua. Have you never read from the lips of children and infants, you, Yahweh, have called forth your praise? We are taking children and put them on the laps of Hasatan. We are putting them on the laps at the very least of a demonic thing that we know is not right. We know that, little fat man. It's amazing that we have people, don't touch my kid, don't get around my kid, stranger danger, all these things, and yet a complete stranger, we go put our babies in the arms of. A complete stranger, we go get pictures of. Is that not amazing? I mean, when we think just a little bit, we meditate and think upon these things, it's like, wow, really? Right? I mean, you go and take your baby that you don't even want grandpa and grandma to be around. You don't want nobody to be around. You can't trust anybody for an hour with. And you take your baby and give it to some stranger you don't know, to drop your baby, run off with your baby, stab your baby, give your baby a shot. You have no clue what's in their hands, what's underneath that garment or anything. We're called to think. We're called to do things, not just be, well, what they're doing is what we do. Learn not the way of the heathen. And he took the children in his arms, placed them in his hands on them, and blessed them. He wants to bless us, but I find it hard to believe that people are blessed and they say their blessings are in material things. And it's their job, it's their work, it's their car, it's their this, it's all these things, which I believe, right? I mean, there is blessings, but the blessings are the healings. The blessings are these things. The blessings are what brings us into the Creator. Children, obey your parents in Yahweh, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on this earth. Fathers, do not aspirate your children. Instead, bring them up in training and instruction of Yahweh. A lot of these things, what we do is we do the will of the Creator. And we teach them the will of the Creator. And when we teach them the will of the Creator, they do the will of the Creator. Not because I'll smash your face with a tin can, right? Not because it's loving. If we would have brought this generation up, and I know everybody's different. I know that you may raise your kids totally different than the people down the street. So when I say we, I'm talking about the world mainly. If the world would have brought their children up the right way, if they would have done what was right in the eyes of Yahweh, not me and Grandpa and all these, what Yahweh says, the Creator, what kind of world would it be? What kind of a person would we be? I personally feel like I'm still trying to play catch up from things that I haven't known for years. I'm still trying to learn and unlearn things that I should have never learned. So trying to get those things out that should have never been there. Should have been places of love, comfort, nice things, all the other things, instead of you just got to work and make so much money, and you just got to do this, and you just got to do that, and because most men, that's what they're taught, right? Most men are taught this is your life, that's what you do, and that's a part of it. Of course, support, honor, respect, these things, but still there's more to it than just doing nothing, just working your life away and dying. We'll do a couple more and we'll close up. Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. They are garland to grace your head and a chain to adorn your neck. These are the things that we should be worried about. The world is worried about big old Beyonce earrings and big old flashy this and all kinds of nonsense that we even see creeps into places that it doesn't belong. And then we wonder why men want to act the way they want to act and why women act the way they want to act. Because as children, a lot of that's out of the question. As children, we are to love the Father, and we're coming to the Father's party. It's the Father's party, right?
Amen.
It's Abba's time. So it's him that we're going to, make the candles and the big fuss over instead of me and what I'm doing. And when we put that into the equation, when we make him the main thing, it changes everything. It changes what the world has, because this time the world, and you can look it up, it's fact that this is the most suicidal time of all the world. From actually around Thanksgiving into December 25th, the first of the year, what they call it, because there's always going to be something missing. Even if you was 5 or 10 or whenever your best ever, December 25th or Thanksgiving, grandpa, grandma, the whole family was together, and then boom, right? Divorce, this, that, someone died, someone passed away. You can't replace that. So I would submit the enemy knows that, and it's all a setup. But when we put it into the Creator's terms, he says, come and meet with me, right? Come and adorn me. Come and talk about me. And even if somebody's not there, we should know where they're gone to. We know what happened to them, instead of, everything's terrible and I really miss this and I really miss that. I don't think after living a little bit of this life that you should want anybody to be here. You know what I'm saying? Do we want grandma to come back? Of course we do. Of course we want mom back. Of course we want that, but at the same time, if there's no more pain, there's no more death. Do we want that? Are we saying, hey, they got it better than I do, actually? We think for some reason our mentality is this is better than that, but that's not true. That is far much better than this. Never tasting death, never seeing pain, never watching things that we have to endure now. There's so much into the after than the things that we got to deal with now. A wise son heeds his father's instruction, but a mocker does not respond to rebukes. That's the world in a nutshell. I mean, that is the world. You can say things to them and you can tell them things and they just mock. Well, I do what I want. I live the way I want. I'm going to do anything I want. And again, it's not my message. It's not Melissa's. It's not Vicky's message. It's not somebody else's message. This is the message of, so say the Yahweh. He says, if you do what I say, I will be your Elohim and you will be my children. And when we don't do that, then how, I think a lot of times in a lot of these churches, I mean, it would be so awesome if this was preached that how are we going to call upon the Father when we never call the Father, right? When something happens, when something goes bad, we want to call upon the Father and get a hold of him. And because it's an important thing to us, now it should be an important thing to him. But if he ain't heard from you in 6 months, who is this, right? Who's calling again? Oh, it's me. Remember me? Yeah, and you ain't said nothing to me for 6 months. So why should I be? I mean, we have to understand this is the creator. This ain't even our relationship here that we might get upset and not speak for a while. And then we just accept, well, that's life. Things happen. Something got in between. We got upset at each other. But the creator, it's not like that. We shouldn't have a relationship like that. That's why he says to what? Pray in the morning, pray in the evening, to talk to him, to not always give him the bad news, but to tell him, thank you. Thank you, I'm alive. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. How much more would he bless us and give to us for doing those type of things? So last one, Proverbs 29:17. Discipline your children and they will give you shalom. They will bring you the delights you desire. So if we do our job correctly, and that might have to start today. It may not. I know a lot of people, well, I wish I'd have started this. I wish, we can only start with what we got. We can't take the past and beat ourselves up and go over and over and rehash it. We can only start with what we got, what we know, and pass that on and keep using what we have there and giving that to the children. Don't matter if they're 30 or, it doesn't matter their age. What matters is we're doing the right thing and we're being pleasing to the Father and we're sharing that with others. So I hope this has helped. I hope you will find that edifying. If you have any questions, comments, anybody? We will shut it down. We'll stop the share. And there we go. And then we will stop this here in a minute. And for everybody else, till next time, may Yahweh bless you. May his kindness shine upon you. May he grant you shalom.